Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Taskeen and I welcome you all on Homeopathy Musing. Today we are going to be starting with a session on LM potency and we have with us Dr. Charu Vahan sir. I welcome you sir on our platform Homeopathy Musing. So Dr. Charu Vahan sir is a known figure in South India and he's had been practicing homeopathy since 2007. He has a wonderful practice of with amalgamation of classical and contemporary methods of homeopathic practice. He has his own organization called as Homeo Academy, and he organizes and hosts several seminars and workshops throughout South India. He also runs the Other Song Satellite Relay Center in Tamil Nadu. He heads the Udayan Homeo Pharmacy, which is known for his high quality remedies. So Sir has been closely working with homeopathy musings and has conducted many courses with us and well as well. So Sir will be sharing some of his ideas and his knowledge on LM potency. And we look forward to today's session. I welcome you, sir, on homeopathy music. Before we move on to today's session, just a quick brief on our upcoming modules and our courses for the upcoming month. So we are going to be starting, we have already started actually with our course with Dr. Shekhar Albundi sir in January. And it is a four session course. And sir is basically, it's a very interesting course, I must say, because I've attended one of the sessions, and it's the course on how to get your patients talking. Sir will be teaching us how to overcome the hurdles in case taking. I highly recommend you all to join. The registrations are open for the same. So, the timing for the course would be 6 p.m. IST. It is a 2 hour session, which will be 4 days and on every Wednesday. In case you've missed the previous session, you can get the access to the recording. We have another interesting course coming up, which is full spectrum pediatrics, where we've designed this course specially keeping into mind all the aspects of pediatric practice. We have curated total 12 sessions, and we've divided this course into two parts. The part one will be starting real soon with Dr. Gajanan Thanipkar sir. The part two will be starting later on. We have varied renowned speakers like Dr. Gajanan Thanapkar sir, Dr. Rajul Shah ma'am, and varied other Dr. Preeti Shah, Dr. Prajakta Vaidya, among others. So the part one for the full spectrum pediatric course is starting from the 6th of Feb with Dr. Gajanan Thanapkar sir taking three distinct sessions of 2 hours each. I highly recommend you all to join. We also will be starting with classroom to clinic course version 2. So we started this course classroom to clinic with an aim and intention to strengthen the foundation of the classroom knowledge and how to put them into practice in our day-to-day practice. So after a successful version 1, we are starting with version 2, and Charuvahan sir will be a part of our course. So happy to announce this course. It will start from May. We'll have total 12 sessions, Wednesday and Friday, 7 p.m. So we've started the registration. You all can join for this course as well. We also have Lance Night coming up with Dr. Jonathan Hardy, and it will be starting in May, total 4 sessions. You all can also avail the early bird offer. For any questions, queries, difficulties, do write to us or contact us. Without for any further ado, I can just start with today's session. I will stop sharing and I'll invite Sir to come forward. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you, Tuskin. Hello, everyone. So, I am seeing here many senior homeopaths and many young practitioners also. So, this crowd is very um, inclusive crowd of every varieties of practitioners here. Um, Today's topic, what we are going to discuss is about LM potency. So, I just want to make my sessions always interactive with the participants. So let me know how many of you here are using LM potency in your practice. You can chat in your comment box. Yes, no. I know this is a post-lunch session, maybe. Many of you will be in a sleeping mode. Yeah, good. So there are so many responses like yes, and some are rare and some no. Good. So tell me one thing. What is the reason or why you use LM potency in your practice? If you want to speak, you can speak also.
To all the participants, if you want, you can unmute yourself and interact with the sir. So some of them have responded on the chat box for the fewer side effects to reduce the aggravation, for repeat doses without aggravation, as per directions of sixth edition of Organon.
As per the direction of sixth edition of Organon. Good. Great. Great. So with this introductory discussion, we just move on to this session. Um, share. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. Yeah. So we are using LM potency with different understanding that LM potency can reduce the aggravation and LM potency can be repeated more. So LM potency is used exclusively by some practitioners and LM potency is used by some practitioners very occasionally to selective kind of cases, right? So this is how we use LM potency in our practice. But in general, in homeopathy, the question comes always to everyone is the choice of potency, which is every time this choice of potency is an debatable thing, or you will have many controversial thoughts and ideas regarding the potency selection. Am I right? Do we follow any standard protocols for our potency selection in our cases? I am unable to see the chats. If you could read out what the answers are coming up.
Um, Dr. Peter suggested yes. Dr. Farjana, yes, according to susceptibility.
According to susceptibility, good point. Yeah. So let us take it forward little, okay? So we have many questions in our mind that which potency for which type of cases. So many speaks that 1M and 10M works deeper than LM. Some may say that Q potency and X potencies are good in cases of where the pathology is very predominant. So where you need a very local kind of action, you should use a Q potency in the sense the mother tincture or the low trituration or attenuated potencies. So then when we have very wide range of centesimal and decimal potencies at our um, homeopathic field, then why to rely on LM potency is another big question because many of us will have a doubt that LM potency was published after the lifetime of Hahnemann. So many will have a doubt on reliability of the LM potency whether it was set by Hahnemann. So these are all common facts. So why LM? So when we have so much of medicines in C potency. So and there are also many other unanswered questions are there regarding potency. Okay, so all these questions, what does it brings as a result is we have many limited understanding of LM potency. So what people say or what we know about LM potency, the one is it is the last discovery of the master Hahnemann. So after a research of 10 years, Hahnemann published the LM potency in his sixth edition of Organon. So mostly people say that it is used for hypersensitive patients where patient cannot tolerate the dose or the potency what we are prescribing to the patient. In some cases where there is deep-seated chronic disease where you need more repetition of doses, people advise LM potency, right? Then in general, we have an idea that LM potency will reduce aggravation. So with this limited understanding, what we do is we use the LM potency in our practice in a very limited scale. So but you can see the LM potency has a very great potential in working in every varieties of cases, in every criterias, in every what to say, in any kind of cases, the LM potency can be utilized in a very better way than the other centesimal potencies, right? So this limited understanding, so what is the reason for this limited understanding is that one, we are not understanding the correct or the exact works of Hahnemann in the historical timeline perspective, which means that how Hahnemann arrived at each concepts or each principles or each philosophy step by step in his lifetime learnings, in his lifetime experimentation. As you know, the whole lifetime of Hahnemann is full of experimentation. He was making experiments everywhere and coming up with more refinements and finer and new ideas and thoughts towards homeopathy. The second point is you can see Hahnemann had brought out different editions of organon. So each edition carries some advancement with the principles, concepts, ideas, methodologies, the application, everything was happening in the successive editions. So the advancement in different editions of organon is not understood in depth. The third point is we should have a general idea about how the potency and dose has been evolved in the timeline of homeopathic discoveries. So we are going to discuss the background behind the discovery of LM potency in these 3 points. Okay, right. So the first thing is the work of Hahnemann in the historical timeline perspective. So Hahnemann had made an enormous work. As you know, he is an, you can say that he is an unsung scientist. If if you have to give some Nobel Prize to Hahnemann, you should give more than 100 Nobel Prizes to Hahnemann. So he has made such a wonderful inventions, discoveries, contributions to the field of medicine, to the field of chemistry. So in this, that major contributions were two things. That is the 6 different editions of organon. And the other thing is the chronic diseases. So we used to see both these organon and chronic disease as a separate thing, but it is not like that. You should try to understand the concepts in chronic disease and the organon in an integrated way so that you can view in what aspect Hahnemann had put forward the principles through his experiments. Okay. So in this timeline, in the year 1790, so what was happening in that year?
The translation of
Yes. So the translation of Cullen's Materia Medica, where Hahnemann conducted the Chincona experiment on himself, and the first discovery was the law of similars. So the homeopathic starting point is at 1790, right? So later he took 6 years of time to refine this finding, and he came up with the article, that the essay on new principle with the law of similars, where he extend this law of similars to certain kind of chronic disease. He was proposing that this law can be used for certain chronic diseases. So in 1805, he came up with medicine of experience, which is called as the precursor of organon, where this law of similars was extended to all kinds of chronic diseases. So in 1810, he published the first edition of organon, and in 1819, the second edition of organon, 1824, the third edition of organon, 1829, the fourth edition, followed by fifth edition in 1833, and the sixth edition in 1842. So Hahnemann completed his journey in 1843. Before his death in 1842, he has completed his sixth edition. See, almost you can see 1790 to 1842, almost 50 years, right? Half a century he has worked for the refinement of the system what he has discovered. So every aspect of homeopathy should be the concepts, the principles, whatever the aphorisms, whatever the laws that Hahnemann introduced should be understood with this timeline. So you can see in between these editions of organon, so Hahnemann worked for the chronic diseases also. So that is between 1816 to 1830, right? So what was happening in all these different editions of organon? Why Hahnemann wrote so much editions of his principles, so much editions of organon? So what is the reason? This has to be understood very precisely. See, in the first three editions of organon, Hahnemann was proposing the laws, the three cardinal principles of organon, which we term as the law of similars, the law of single medicine, and the law of minimum dose. Hahnemann was very clear in this. Okay. In relation to potency, the experiment of Chincona started with Q, and Hahnemann was testing the law of similars with more of such crude solutions in lower attenuations and in tinctures. Mostly the doses during that period was given in powders, grains and solutions. So everything were in an experimental phase. Hahnemann was keep on experimenting with his principle and how to apply this, how to deliver the principle to the patient, how it can be refined. So all these things were going on in his mind, and there was a constant progression of the laws, potency, dose, medicine, proving, everything was happening simultaneously, right? When it comes to the fourth edition of Organon, so the fourth edition carries a special place in the timeline of homeopathy because the fourth edition was totally a different edition where Hahnemann introduced many new things, many new concepts, new principles into the homeopathic philosophy. So everywhere you can see the editions were having changes with the philosophy, potency and dose, right? So along with the three cardinal principles, in fourth edition, Hahnemann introduced the concept of miasm for the first time in organon. So you can see the timeline because in 1816 to 1829, Hahnemann was working with chronic diseases. So actually, the fourth edition was published in the same year as like 1829 with the experience and knowledge what he has gained from the research of chronic miasms and chronic diseases, so that he carried the concept of miasm into organon. He was introducing it for the first time. So when this exploration was happening, Hahnemann was able to identify that the cause of disease is a dynamic. So the concept of dynamization, the dynamic concept of health, the dynamic concept of disease was introduced in the fourth edition of Organon. So which made him to advocate the higher dynamized potency as a standard potency. According to Hahnemann, at that time, he advocated the 30C potency as a standard potency. And regarding the dose, Hahnemann instructed single dry dose, and once the medicine is given, if you have any improvement in the case, you should not repeat the medicine until the effect of the medicine has been over. So this is one greatest shift from the last three editions of Organon, and now Hahnemann has postulated a very new concept or new kind of his discovery into the homeopathic practice. So when Hahnemann introduced this concept of dynamic and concept of miasm, he received many debates and controversies from his colleagues, and even many have left homeopathy also, right? So when it comes to the fifth edition of Organon, so what were the main highlights? So the principles were stable. He was very convinced with all the principles: the law of similars, the law of single medicine, the law of minimum dose, the law of vital force, drug dynamization. Okay, so this theory of chronic diseases, theory of miasm. So everything was very perfect. And when it comes to potency, Hahnemann removed that limit for 30C potency as the standard. So here where Hahnemann in this period started to experimenting with higher potencies, and so he removed the limitation for 30C as the standard potency. And in dose, he was introducing a new concept that every dose can be diluted in water. The aqua dosing was introduced. So the reason for him to introduce the aqua dose is to, if you dilute the dose in water, it gives a way to repeat the dose. So when you repeat the dose, you can fasten the cure. You can make the cure time to be shortened, right? So this was one drastic change that Hahnemann gave in his fifth edition of Organon. So you can see here in each and every edition, Hahnemann was keep on refining the concepts and its application with a precise experimentation and conclusion. You should be very clear in understanding this evolution. So this is going to be the base why Hahnemann came to LM potency and why LM potency is good for hypersensitive patients, why LM potency has lesser aggravation, why LM potency can be repeated. So when it comes to the sixth edition, it was a complete edition with all aspects of homeopathic practice where Hahnemann refined all his philosophical concepts, the potency and the dose, where the shift of an entire potency concept was happening in the sixth edition, where a new scale of potency was introduced, that is LM, that is in the sixth edition. So, and then you can see with LM potency, the repetition was allowed whenever it is necessary. And there were possibilities to alter the doses either by increasing or decreasing the succussions. Right? So, the changes of the last three editions of Organon carries the fundamental idea why LM potency is so important in our practice. So how the potency and dose has been started getting, it started with Q in 1790 and slowly it has been progressed into LM potency scale in 1842. So this is the evolution of potency. When it comes to dose, it has changed as a raw solution to diluted solutions, then to dry pellets, then the size of the pellets has been reduced. Even the size of the pellets has been reduced, it is dissolved in water. Then a complete water dosing method was advocated in the last edition of Organon. Can you follow what I am saying? So far, what we have discussed, can you follow with the
Yes, sir. Participants are replying as yes. Yeah.
yes. So why this constant refinement or constant change in the potency and the dose is needed in organ? So what could be the idea about a choice of potency or how and potency can be selected. Why potency is so important? See, whenever I say potency, the potency and dosage also involves in what I am saying. Okay. So Hahnemann was very convinced with 3-point rule for potency and dose selection, right? So the one is the nature of the disease. When it comes to the nature of the disease, you can see in our practice, we can encounter many different kinds of diseases. Like you can get an acute disease, a chronic pathological disease, purely psychiatric disease, or psychosomatic disease, whatever may be. In our day-to-day practice, we have been taught, or we have been said, or we have been learned with many ideas in relation to this nature of the disease, how we can select the potency. For instance, you can say for acute diseases, you should give a high potency. Say 1 can work very well in an acute case where the potency is high, so the intensity of the medicine will be very deeper, so the effect will be very quicker. In chronic disease, you can say that you have to repeat the medicine more number of times. So in acute, when you give a high potency, the repetition possibilities will be very less. In pathological diseases, usually we have an idea that the medicines which are in low potency will have more pathological effect. So low potency medicines can be given in pathological cases. So sometimes high potency medicines may aggravate. So there are a lot of ideas revolving around this concept, right? The second thing is the nature of the patient. So when it comes to the nature of the patient, you can see different varieties of patients. You can see patients with different levels of susceptibility. So there will be a hypersensitive patient, there will be an hyposensitive patient, a patient with more emotional imbalancement. So there will be different levels of susceptibility. So when you consider this point as a potency selection, so for a hypersensitive patient, you cannot give an high potency. You say 1 or 10 will cause aggravation in a hypersensitive patient. And at the same time, you cannot give a low potency. See, for a hyposensitive patient, you can choose a low potency, but without assessing the sensitivity level of the patient in a correct way, you cannot decide how much the repetition shall be done in that particular patient, right? So again, this will lead into confusion, which potency should be given if you are considering only 1 point as an potency selection guide. So the second thing is nature of the remedy. Sorry, the third thing is the nature of the remedy. So if, as like the patients, how you have a hypersensitive, hyposensitive. So remedies are also like quick acting, short acting, deep acting remedies. Some remedies like calcarea carb, Beretta carb will act very slow. That is their dynamic quality where their action will be very slow and steady progressive. So how to choose? This is a question. So what Hahnemann considered is the choice of potency should be as like how we select a remedy. It should be holistic. It should be individualized. You cannot consider one point as an deciding factor for a potency selection. So all these three things, the nature of the disease, the nature of the patient, and the nature of the remedy should be combinedly taken into account in the potency selection. So a similimum, when you say the remedy, when you can say a remedy as a similimum, it is not only when the symptoms are matching exactly between the remedies and the patient. A correct similimum is the one which has the symptom similarity, the potency similarity with the patient, and the dose similarity with the patient. So every prescription should have the correct remedy, the correct potency, and the correct dose. Then only you can call this as a similar. Clear? Can you follow? Yes.
Yes, sir.
So let us see one case. So this was an acute case. The patient called me suddenly that she was having an irregular menstrual bleeding, and the bleeding was so frequent and it was so profuse also, and she couldn't tolerate. She is getting tired, pain, and everything was there. So this is the condition. The patient was keep on bleeding, so it was almost some 9 to 10 days. There was severe bleeding and patient is getting drained up. So as you can see, the patient was saying many mental aspects and his life situations and everything. So now we are not going to go very deep into that thing because the remedy selection is a different area. So when a case suddenly comes with this kind of prescription, this kind of presentation. So forget the remedy first. What potency can you give? How you will design a dose for this case? Any idea? So the case was having a lot of LM potency. Okay. Why? Dr.
Devjyoti.
Dr. Jyoti. Why LM potency should be given? Quick repetition can be done. Very good point. Yes. According to me, yes. Yes.
Dr. Maya is replying, high potency as acute bleeding and frequent repetition required.
Okay. Can you repeat a high potency frequently? Yes, yes. Good. So this case was having lot of emotional and mental aspects in the background of her complaint. And usually in such cases, okay, selecting LM potency directly will be an what to say. The assessment of sensitivity should be very perfect before starting up with the LM. Because when you enter into the LM, the sensitivity, dose, planning, everything should be perfect. Okay. High potency, one dose, wait and watch. Yeah. So this is, you can see here, all have given many suggestions of potency selection. See, this high potency, one dose, wait and watch is according to which edition of organelle? Where Hahnemann have advocated this wait and watch method. So actually, the method of one dose high potency wait and watch is fourth edition of organelle. So this was mostly followed by Kentian method followers. So this was advocated by Kent, right? So using high potency and so we always should be very careful that before choosing the potency, we should be very sure that our remedy is correct, right? So this is very important. So this is an acute case where I have no time to, this patient was over phone. Okay. So if you are starting with LM, you need a perfect plan for deciding the follow-up doses, as then you can't have a time to assess the sensitivity of the patient. So here in this case, what I followed is the fifth edition method of prescription. What is that? Centesimal potency in water solutions. Yeah, water dosing. So the patient is having continuous bleeding. So you need to have a frequent repetition. So you can repeat with LM also, but before having a clear-cut idea of the entire condition and when you are very sure of the prescription, you can go directly to LM and start it with LM 1, 2 or 3. Okay, this is the normal procedure. If not, you are not having an idea of the sensitivity of the patient or the nature of the disease because you are not seeing the patient directly. She is over phone. So a centesimal dose in water can help you at this time. Okay, because the centesimal will have a direct effect on the vital force. When it mixed with water, it won't bring more aggravations, and starting with such a dose you can assess the remedy is working perfectly and then you can shift over to LM. So this plan was made in this case, in this particular case. Okay. So the patient was prescribed calcarea silicata in water, right? 200 potency. One pill was mixed in 100 ml of bottle. I asked the patient to make a stroke of 10 times, 10 succussions of that particular medicine solution, and take one cap of that medicine solution and add it into 1 liter of normal drinking water. And I advised the patient to take the dose whenever you need or whenever you feel thirsty. So this is one method of administering a water dose, okay, where you are keeping the dose very minimum with one pill and diluting it to 100 ml. From that medicine solution, you are again diluting the dose into 1 liter of water, which is ultra diluting, which will bring more curative effect in the patient. And since the dose is very minimum, you can repeat the dose very frequently. So within 24 hours, the patient started to recover from this condition. The bleeding was slowly getting down, stopped, and within 2 days, she was normal. So in this kind of case, you cannot give a dry dose and wait for the improvement. What if the potency what we are giving is not suitable to that particular patient, which will create an severe aggravation? So usually when in this wait and watch method, if an aggravation comes, usually in this Kintian method, if an aggravation comes, you feel it is good, the remedy is correct. Okay. So if it is a similar aggravation, then it is fine. If it is a dissimilar aggravation, which means the disease aggravation, so you need to antidote that remedy, right? You don't know what will antidote the remedy. Then we will get into some speculations, theories, and we have to try many other things where you can lose the case or where the aggravation, you have to wait until the aggravation has to settle down, which will drag your curative process to a longer time. Can you follow?
Yes, sir. There is one
Yes, sir.
question by Dr. Jyoti. What was the reason to select the Calcarea silicata?
Yeah, she was having the mental state like she was more concerned about her family image, okay, where she needs to be a better person than other members of the family. Her son has to join a new college. So if her son is not studying well, then people will criticize me. They will question me. See, you are an engineer, but you cannot make your child to get into a good college of engineering. So this I feel incapable of doing it. This becomes a major fear and anxiety, which is combined with the financial issues. Okay, so with all these themes and his mental state, calcarea silicata was prescribed. Clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what will be the effect of if we are prescribing the case in based on fourth edition method? Okay, so using that 30C as a standard potency or one high potency and wait and watch, one dose and wait and watch. So what could be the effect? The concept of disease was dynamic, right? The medicine which you are prescribing should be a dynamic medicine. So 30C potency may be choosing may be the right thing, but sometimes it may not be the correct potency to the sensitivity of your vital force. It may not match the vital force sensitivity. Sometimes the potency may seems to be low. If the patient is in the 200C level, if you are giving a 30C potency, then it may not touch the sensitivity of 200C, right? So which will compel you to repeat it again and again without knowing which is the correct potency level of that particular case. Or if you say if you are giving a high potency in a single dose, which may exceed the potency level of that patient, which will again cause aggravation in a patient, again this will be a problem. So you have to wait till the aggravation has to get down. So you may not be able to repeat until whatever is happening should be settled down, right? So this will be the effect of fourth edition prescription, right? Okay. So with this, what we can conclude? When a medicine is dynamized more, the more the dynamization, the more deeper will be the action. Okay. Any unsuitable potency or unsuitable dose will cause aggravation. And also any unsuitable repetition or unwanted repetition will also cause aggravation. So these aggravations will cause delay in the curative action of that medicine. So with this conclusion, Hahnemann changed the concept, or he refined the concept of potency selection and administration of dose in the next edition, right? Where he advocated that you can give higher potencies, but the point is you dissolve one pill. See, Hahnemann always recommended one pill, one poppy seeds pill, because where you can keep the dose as minimum as possible. So always the dose should be minimum. That is the law of minimum, the three cardinal principle, right? Law of minimum. Okay. You dissolve that particular pill into water. You make a stirring of that particular solution and give it in spoonfuls as per the need. So what it really indicates, when you dilute the medicine in water solution, you are making the dose minimum, and also when it is diluted, more the dilution, more the curative power will be. So when you success it or stir it, every dose will have an alteration in the dynamics. So where you can get a deeper action of the remedy with minimum dose, with minimal aggravation. Since the dose whatever you are going to giving is a minimum dose, the aggravation is resolvable. It can be easily resolved. So the number of succussions or the number of stirs you are using to administer the dose should always be according to the sensitivity of the individual. But in this method, Hahnemann found one drawback. That is, when you try to adjust the dose according to the sensitivity of the patient, according to the changes that is coming up after the prescription, according to the disease, whatever may be, the potency here available has a very long jump. So you can give 30C potency as an introductory potency. When it comes to the next potency level, it is 200C, right? When it comes to the next higher potency, then it will be 1000C, that is 1M. So the availability of the potency, you can see between 30 and 200C, there are almost 170 potency ranges are there. How to treat the patients? They are falling under these potency level ranges. And from 200 to 1M, you see a large gap of 800 potency ranges. What if a patient falls in between the potency range of 800C? How to treat him? So again, the repetition became a difficult task in such cases. Right? So this issue should also be solved in case of potency and dose. And with this experiences, Hahnemann was shifting the concept of potency and dose entirely in the 6th edition of Archive. So this is the reason why the LM potency was invented. Any questions at this level?
So one of our participants is asking, but when the mental picture is clear and we know the indicated remedy, why can't we give high potency?
Yeah, as we said earlier, no, the potency selection guiding point were three as per Hahnemann. One is nature of the disease, nature of the patient, and nature of the disease, nature of the patient, and the nature of the remedy.
Remedy.
Okay, the three should be considered in an holistic way. If you are looking only the mental picture, then you are choosing the potency on the basis of only the nature of the disease, right? So even though the mental picture is very clear, that is not the only indication to give a high potency. And it doesn't mean that that high potency will not act. The high potency will act, but it may bring aggravations, or it may not be able, it may bring it may bring a situation that it cannot be repeated again if an aggravation happens, right? Can you understand?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Is diluted 200 potency short acting then?
Sorry.
Dr. Deep Jyoti has asked, is diluted 200 potency short acting then?
You have an liberation of repeating the doses in water, right? So you can repeat it. That's why the medicine is dissolved in water. That's why Hahnemann made aqueous solutions, introduced aqueous solutions in the fifth edition. The repetition is possible. The number of successions can be according to your experience and the whatever suits to you, because it is said in the history that Hahnemann used two successions at some points, six successions at some points, seven successions at some points. Okay, so that can be decided by you, or you can have a standard number of successions as 10, as how Hahnemann made it standard in every potency ranges. Yeah. So I will answer all these questions regarding the succession and everything at the end of the session. Okay. I will definitely take that questions. Okay. No worries. So why we should be very careful in dealing with aggravations, repetitions, and all these things. So you can see that Hahnemann revised the dose and potency in every editions of organon to reduce the aggravation, to make the cure very rapid. Okay, so what is the reason? This is one is rapid cure, right? So when you say the cure should be without any aggravation, then it means that it is gentle cure. So when you need to give a potency or a dose of medicine which should be acting at a very deeper level, then it should be a long lasting one, a permanent cure. So all these changes were proposed by Hahnemann to achieve the ideal cure. So whatever the medicine you are prescribing should bring a rapid, gentle and permanent cure. So this was achieved in his LM potency method. So LM potency is considered to be one of the advanced method which Hahnemann proposed in homeopathy. Okay. So why we should give a remedy in water? So when a medicine gets diluted and minimized, it has more curative effect. And when a medicine is dissolved in water, the frequent repetition is possible because it reduces the aggravation. So when the remedy is succussed, why to succuss the medicine? When the remedy is succussed, the number of succussion is directly proportional to the depth of action of the remedy. More the succussion, more deeper the action of the remedy. So the number of succussion increases the potency proportionally. So everything is connected to the point of aggravation. When there is more succussion, when there is increase in the potency, the higher the potency, the higher the aggravation. Here we say higher the potency, which doesn't means that it is 1 m, 10 m like that. It means that the potency is higher for that particular individual who we are prescribing the medicine, right? Even a 30C can be a higher potency for an individual. You should be very clear in that. Okay. So when the dose is higher, and also it will lead to an aggravation. So to make this, the medicine is more diluted, and always the potency should be kept lower, that is with lower succussions. Right? You understand this point. When your succussion is higher, the potency will be higher. When the potency is higher, the aggravation will be higher. Right? So the purpose is the potency should be low, but it should be a deep acting one. They should not produce any aggravation, and it must have the freedom to repeat it frequently. So the dose should be minimum, but it should be deep acting without any aggravation. So the adjustment should be made at any level according to any criteria that is coming up with the follow-up. So these are all the main learnings or the main inferences that Hahnemann arrived at the end of the 5th edition of Organon. So with this concept, he took forward the next potency what he introduced in the 6th edition, that is the LM potency. You can see here, we can have a simple calculation here, how these succussions and dilutions are working in centesimal and LM. Okay. So in 30C, usually we do 10 succussions. Okay. When a remedy comes, when a remedy is prepared up to 30C potency, till then there will be 300 succussions would have been made. You can see the dilution ratio will be around 1:30,000. When it comes to 200, you can see the figures here. There will be a large number of differences between 30 and 200C in succussions. So the succussions were very higher. The one potency range to next potency range, the number of succussion is very higher. That's why sometimes you can get more aggravations in 201 than 30C. So that is why Hahnemann advised in 4th edition 30C is enough. But the dry dose was a problem. So he wanted to dilute the medicine and give it in water in the 5th edition. Again, the gap between the potency was problem. That's why he came up with the LM potency. So how LM potency achieve this criteria? How LM potency achieve the criteria whichever we have discussed before? So the first thing is LM potency is prepared from the lowest potency as possible. It is prepared from the 3C trituration. Okay. So the first point is keeping the potency low. Right. So the second thing, minimizing the dose. So the 1 grain of that 3C trituration is used for the preparation of the mother solution, where one part of that lowest potency medicine is taken and dissolved in a mixture of 100 plus 400 drops of alcohol and water. So here what you are doing is you are diluting the mother substance, where you should connect to the point why the remedy should be diluted. Higher the diluted, higher will be the curative power. Minimum will be the dose. So already we have taken from the lowest potency. and we are diluting it to a higher level of dilution where the curative power will be more, right? So, and with this solution, 100 succussions are made to prepare LM1 stock. So the first number, the first potency has received 100 succussions, where you can compare to 30C where it is received 300 succussions. So you always remember that number of succussions will increase the dynamicity of the drug, where this is directly proportional to the aggravation. So here 100 succussion was standard in preparing the LM potency. And also you can see again the dilution ratio is 1 is to 50,000. It is again ultra diluted. So one drop from that mother solution is taken and again it is ultra diluted. So from LM1 stock solution is made and it is medicated in 500 micropillet. You can see Hahnemann uses again this poppy seed size pellets for medicating the LM potency. The concept is again keeping the dose as minimum as possible. Okay. Minimum, anything that is minimum will give maximum effect. So minimum size micro size pellets, that is poppy size pellets, is used for medicating the LM1 stock solution. So now we receive LM1 medicated pills. So we have made ultra dilution, we have made 100 succussion as standard, and it was a very low potency. It was prepared from very low potency. So entire thing, whatever that was made in the preparation of centesimal was totally different, and you can see that all the learnings, all the good things that was happening in each and every potency criteria was involved, were combined into this preparation of LM. Poppy seed size pills are used, succussions are used, water dosings, what diluting the medicine is used. So everything is included. It is an um, integrated preparation of potency. So you cannot compare LM is equivalent to this centesimal potency, or LM is equivalent to LM6 is equivalent to LM1, or LM3 is equal to L3C. No comparison can be made like that. Okay, so this is entirely a different thing. So when it comes to the successive potency preparation, the LM1 from LM1, LM2 is made as follows, that one pellet from LM1 is taken and it is dissolved in 99 parts of alcohol. So you can see here LM1 preparation is different, LM2 is different. So here the both centesimal and new method is combined. So here you use the 99 parts of alcohol as like the centesimal potency for preparing LM2, and the succussion is made as 100 times. So when the succussion is made 100 times, then it is more dynamic. The 100 times succussion is standard throughout the preparation of LM, and similarly LM2, LM3, LM4 are used, and all these medicines are used only in poppy seed size pellets. So there is no jumping of potency. That is very important here. So from LM1, LM2, LM3, LM4, you don't need any confusion that whether we should give 1M like centesimal, whether to give 1M in the mind symptom patients, or 200 for a nosode, or 30 for acute disease. No, you don't need any confusion here. You can, once you chosen the remedy that this is the similimab, you start from LM1 and progress it to LM2, LM3, LM4 until the patient is getting relieved completely. So this is the unique nature of LM potency preparation, which carries away all the good things of potency and dose into it. So this is totally a different kind of preparation and different kind of potency that is proposed by Hahnemann as an advanced method in his 6th edition of Organic. Is there any questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will answer them. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So what LM potency is as a conclusion? So first thing is you should be very clear that LM potency is an extraordinary potency. It cannot be limited to certain type of cases. It can be applied to every case that you are encountering, right? So it is a unique potency. So it acts faster, deeper, and safer. So you can choose the potency very easily. You can start from the lowest and you can keep on progressing. You don't need to worry about whether this medicine will act in mind or whether the medicine will act pathologically, because it consists everything. So it has a low potency in it. It has a higher dynamization in it. So it will act holistically. And the adjustment of the dose can be made very accurately. You can make adjustment like anything. Actually, prescribing LM and adjusting the dose is will be an interesting thing. You can see the minor changes that patient is feeling, that is expressing, the patient is experiencing in every dose. When you increase the succussion, when you decrease the succussion, you can see how the vital force is getting tuned up with the dose. It will be an artistic way of adjusting the dose. Okay. So this is one more case which I recently prescribed. So this is a case of uterine polyp, and the patient was having a lot of depression, a lot of delusions, and a lot of fear, anxiety. She was in totally devastated state that people are not um, listening to me. Everybody is neglecting me, and no one is looking me like a good. And she had a lot of abuse in her childhood, and so much of things. And this is a case of an uterine polyp. Okay. So in this case, what can we expect? At what time period we can expect an improvement? How much time it can be, a polyp can take to get dissolved or disappear? Yes, somebody is talking. So what potency will, obviously we are dealing with LM potency now, so everybody will be saying that LM potency can be given. What potency or how much time this pathology can be resolved? How much time it will take to get resolved? Any idea? Just be free to discuss the points. 2 months at least. Yes. Yeah. So on this patient was given slow growing. Okay. So obviously this patient was given medicine in LM potency in daily doses. It may bleed after giving medicine and then clears all. So if we prescribe a medicine when there is a bleeding because of that polyp, if you are giving a medicine, if the bleeding is getting increased, whether it is a good sign or bad sign. Yes, yes. So actually, if you are giving a medicine, the bleeding should get decreased first. If it is increasing, again, as per fourth edition, you have to check whether the medicine is correct. So if the medicine is correct, then the increase in bleeding may be considered as an similar aggravation, but it should not happen. Okay. Even though if she is feeling good, the bleeding is not a good sign from a tumor or from any pathological structure that is what we are treating. It is a syphilitic symptom. Okay. So if we are treating any such tumors or cancers where we are prescribing the medicine, but when the bleeding is increasing, but the patient is feeling better, it is not the right way of cure. It will be a temporary thing. It may be due to some suppression or aggravation that patient may be feeling better. There may be a relapse after some time. So the permanent cure may not be possible at this point. When you experience a pain, increase of pain or increase of bleeding, any increase in pathology when we are treating, it is a wrong sign. It depends upon the case, what kind of tumor, what kind of bleeding it is. Usually, bleeding from a fibroid is a pathological symptom, right? So this bleeding cannot be considered as a good sign. Any bleeding cannot be considered as a good sign. Yeah. So in this case was given lac caninum in LM6 daily dose, and within 3 months the gynecologist confirmed that there is no abnormal structure that is in the uterine, and also after taking the medicine in initial cases, in the initial doses itself, the patient was starting to get improved with his mental phase, and slowly her bleeding started reduced, and almost the bleeding was stopped in 1 month. But I advised the patient to wait till 3 months, till her next cycle has to come up, and she got the next cycle regularly, and also the third cycle was also regular. So after that I advised the patient to get diagnosed with USG. So this shows the rapidity of cure without any aggravation, and till now the patient is feeling better. It is almost some 4 5 months. She is okay, right? LM6, lag cannon potency is LM6. So we should remember this, that Hahnemann spent his last 10 years in developing this unique method to bring an ideal cure and making his system precisely complete science. So there is no doubt and no question of aggravation, what to give, when to give. You can give whenever it is needed. You can start from LM1 and progress it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as the case goes. So it is a complete unique system. So there is no question whether this will act in mind, this will act in pathology, it will act on both. So Hahnemann instructed, we all know that this was published after the death of Hahnemann, and the original manuscript was with his wife, Madame Melanie, and it was not published in her lifetime also. Then later in 1920, Richard Hill wrote about this LM potency in his Life and Letters book. Then with the help of Dr. William Borick, it was published. The sixth edition was published in 1920. It was completed in 1842 and it was published almost after many years. Then in India in 1957, Dr. Chowdhury introduced it in India. So this is a little um, short points on history of LM potency, how it traveled all along. So we should always remember the saying of Hahnemann, the three important saying of Hahnemann. The one is dare to be wise. So you should be very open to learning the right things and share them without any hesitation. And the second thing is, I have not lived in vain. You just look at the history. No medical system was invented, and completed by one single person except homeopathy. So Hahnemann spent his entire lifetime only for homeopathy, almost his entire lifetime only for homeopathy, by doing experiments, by making every point very precise, very sure. So that is how the sixth edition and the birth of LM potency has happened. And the third point is very important, that imitate me, but imitate well. Imitate me well. So if you are using a concept of Hahnemann, then you should follow the way as he instructed. So this is very important because even people using LM potency will use potency according to their wish. So some may use dry dose of LM potency. Some are purchasing some liquid solutions of LM1, LM2 like that. So all these things are not the exact way as what Hahnemann told. So we can see the benefit of LM potency when you use them as instructed by Hahnemann. Okay. Yes. So I can take questions now. So what were the questions? Can you read one by one? Or you can ask me. Hello. Dispensing of LM. Okay. See, actually dispensing of LM, how I dispense the medicine, I will just tell you. So after using LM medicine for over some 16 to 17 years in my clinical practice, okay. So I was just like other homeopaths, I was also trying many different way of administering the LM medicine, and I arrive at a standard way of administering the LM potency, which is as close to Hahnemannian instructions. Okay, so you can see here. So this is the LM medicine where you will see there is a poppy side kind of seeds. Second, usually I use a 100 ml bottle to make the remedy solution. It may differ into 30 ml or 10 ml according to the cases. Okay. So if I want to prescribe the medicine for a long time, I used to choose 100 ml bottle, right? So in this 100 ml bottle, you have to fill it with clean water, normal drinking water or distilled water, whichever is feasible, you can fill it. Okay. For 100 ml, you can add up 18 to 20 drops of dispensing alcohol. After making this water and alcohol solution, take the indicated medicine LM, just one pill of the poppy seed size. Okay. So one pill of the poppy seed size, put it in the solution. So when your solution is made, you can dispense this to the patient by mentioning number of succussions, whether it should be taken weekly or daily or alternative days. So I used to prescribe alternative days, weekly doses and daily doses according to the cases. Okay. So how the prescription will be is keeping 10 succussion as a standard thing. Okay. So I used to demonstrate the patient how to succus the medicine. That is very important. So you should demonstrate the patient and ask the patient to succus it for 10 times exactly, not more or less than that, and take one cap of the remedy solution and add it to 100 ml of water. You take a cup of water, 100 ml, and you just add that one cap of medicine solution into that cup, 100 ml water cup, stir it well, and ask the patient to take 3 or 1 spoon, that may be vary. Okay, 1 spoon or the whole cup, slowly, gently, by tasting it and swallow it. So this is a standard method where I prescribe how I dispense the LM medicine. So here you can alter the number of succussions. You can ask the patient to stroke if even if the patient is very sensitive to LM potency also, you can reduce the number of succussions to 5, 6, 2, 3, whatever may be. And you can reduce the dose also. You can plan either way. You can ask the patient to take 1 cap of the medicine solution, or you can place a dropper in it and you can ask the patient to leave 10 drops in 100 ml water and stir well and ask them to take 1 spoon. That is also possible. So these kind of alterations will be needed when you are treating extremely high pathological cases like cancer at terminal stages. So you need to keep on adjusting the dose every minute or every day like this. The thing why I started the case with LM6 is I was very sure with the sensitivity level of the patient and everything. So I tried directly from LM6. So starting from LM1, LM2, LM3, LM4 is also good. Okay. With my experience, I chose to give LM6 directly to that case. So the LM same potency, once this one remedy bottle is over, usually I stop prescribing the medicine and leave the patient for 1 month or 2 months without any medicine. We'll check for any relapses. If there are relapses which is lesser than the previous complaint, previous situation, I used to repeat the same potency until it works. Okay. If this potency is not working, or if the remedy picture has changed, then I will shift to the next higher potency. Alcohol, where do we get? I think you can ask the local pharmacy companies. Can you read the questions in order, anyone?
Sure, yes. So, Dr. Maya asked, in case of hypertension, LM potency daily is required.
Hypertension is not a disease, it's a symptom. Usually, if you are considering the patient as a holistic level, don't make one symptom as a criteria to alter, change any dosage or potency. You just check how the response of the initial dose is happening with the patient. You can repeat the LM daily if the disease is progressive. Okay, if the pathology is progressive, so you choose accordingly. So usually you can wait for minimum 3 to 1 week after a one dose of LM medicine to check the response, and then after that you can decide whether we can repeat it daily or we can repeat it weekly, whatever it may be. So this is more flexible in using it.
Sir, Dr. Jyoti has some questions again about some alcohol. Which alcohol to use?
See, some homeopathic pharmacies are having plain alcohol with them. So you can contact them and you can buy. I think some pharmacies is supplying them, or you can use this vodka, right? Plain vodka without any flavor, that can be also used.
Sir, Prakash writes, is jumping potency allowed?
Technically speaking, it is not allowed, but when you gain experience, right? Experience for if you can have an idea which potency will choose. So I have been using LM potency for around 15 years in sequence, LM1, LM2, LM3, LM4. So most of my cases will be resolved when it reaches LM6. some may be cured in LM1 itself. Okay. So it's up to you. The method on what basis you are selecting the LM potency. And now uh, I am experimenting with the potency selection according to the level of experience of Dr. Rajan Shankaran. So I am using this potency LM3, LM6 in such a way.
I
Obviously,
think, sir, another question was also about how to take the next dose. Then, how to take the next dose of the LM potency.
means,
I think that was answered by you, sir.
yeah.
Yeah. So there's another question on by Dr. Dev Jyoti.
Hmm.
Can hypertension medicine be replaced with indicated LM potency?
Sorry,
Can hypertension medicine be replaced with indicated LM potency?
I don't understand what the question is.
So I think she's asking whether the hypertension medicine can be replaced if there is an
Allopathic hypertension medicine can be replaced with LM potency, she is asking.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
Yes,
because
she writes
in
yes.
homeopathy, we are not going to treat the hypertension. We are going to treat the patient who is having hypertension. You should be very clear in every aspect. On what basis your prescription is going to be. Okay. Actually, this is a very vast area that the case management strategies, how to change the dose, what number of succussions should be fixed for a case, how much doses should be given in what kind of cases it should be analyzed. So all this is a very elaborative lesson what we have to learn. So for that we have planned to have an exclusive LM potency course in near future where each and every strategy or every criteria what we are facing in the follow up, how it could be tackled with LM potency and what we should do. The case management studies with LM potency will be discussed elaborately with more cases in that course in future.
Yes, I wanted to ask if people would be interested in the course, then we can
Yeah.
really curate those that thing for you all. If you all can write it down, if people are really interested, we can come forward with the course. Anyway, so there is a repetitive question on how to prepare LM1 to LM2 or how, you know,
All the medicines are available in the market. I think I use two companies medicine. That one is Hapco, which is a standard homeopathic pharmacy in India where the medicines are prescribed in Hahnemannian method. And the other one is exclusively there is a pharmacy for LM potency, that is Homeopathy International, which is a manufacturing unit from Dr. LM Chowdhury. Okay, so both these are very good, and there are more than 150 medicine in Hapco, and there are more than 300. Sorry, there are about 1,000 medicines of LM with Homeopathy International. Both are from Kolkata.
so Prakash writes how many potency we need to keep in our inventory.
Initially, till you are getting accustomed with usage of LM, you can keep potencies up to 6, LM1 to LM6. So if you need any LM medicine or LM potency, I can also help you by supplying those medicines where we have exclusive LM kit of 1, 2, 3 of 100 medicines with us. So you can contact me also. I think some questions were missed in initial chats.
I'll
So,
just have a look through.
yeah.
The first question was by Dr. Jyoti. Some patients with gallstone Lyco 200 is better. When one misgiven, it is aggravated. We have to give in water dose. Even if in water dose, how to repeat?
But to solve this issue, you can try in this case if you feel this lycopodium is the constitutional medicine for the patient and it is an indicated medicine for that particular patient who is having gallbladder, you start LM1 as I said in a 100 ml bottle, give a one pill of LM1 and make a solution and ask the patient to take it daily. Definitely it will help.
Someone has written, should only a glass bottle be used?
Sorry.
Sheetal rice. Should only a glass bottle be used?
Glass bottle is an ideal thing to use because plastic bottles sometimes there is a quality issue. Even with glass bottle, you should be very careful with there should not be any breakage and it should be a virgin bottle so that it may not interfere with the purity of the medicine solution what you are making. Okay.
Rafi
Can I
rice.
speak?
Yeah.
Yes, Sheetal, you can.
This was regarding the LM potency. Suppose we give a patient LM1
Mhm.
and for a month, say, and the
Mhm.
bottle gets over.
Mhm.
And now again, we still want the patient to continue on LM1.
Mhm.
Since we are using succust potencies every time we give the dose, the
Mhm.
potency is raised, no? So now next bottle again LM1 we have to give, or we have to use some other potency.
See, it depends upon the experience what you have already with prescribing in such a state. See, what I will tell you what I will use at that position, okay, at that situation. So if I want to repeat the the same LM potency again with that case, I will repeat the same potency with altered number of succussions. Either I will increase the number of succussion or I will decrease the number of succussion according to the case.
Okay, sir.
Clear?
Thank you.
So the purpose is only thing is the medicine what you are giving should have an alter in its energy so that it can keep on stimulating the vital force.
Okay, it's not necessary that we are going down again.
No, it is not. It is not a matter.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
So will you give no source or lacasis in LM? Yes. I used to prescribe almost every medicine in LM and every case of mine is with LM only. Yes, LM1. So you just as a beginner you should have a standard rule that whatever you have decided the remedy, you just start from LM1 and start keep on moving it further in a higher potencies regularly in a successive way. So this will bring you more uh, acquainted with the observation of changes that each dose and each potency is making in the patient. Okay. So you don't get confused whether to give LM1 or LM6 or LM3 in the beginning stage. Okay. So you start from LM1 and because I have seen in Corona time there were a lot of critical cases that came and all the cases I prescribed LM1, LM2 and LM3 in successive doses. So the patient will start taking the dose from LM2, 3, and within this 3 potency, many cases have recovered in a very shorter period. Don't you use C potency? I use C potency in certain cases, but in water solutions. I never use dry dose. So one pill of indicated medicine, whatever it is C or LM, in 100 ml or 30 ml bottle, give a stroke, take one cap, mix it with 100 ml and take 3 spoons daily, weekly. That depends upon the case. If a patient need LM4, will there be any little change if he is administered LM1? Yes, there will be change. LM, the one important thing in prescribing LM potency is the action will be very swift, quick. When the remedy is correct, you will have a quicker response from the patient in any aspect. You should, again, everything is integrated in homeopathy. You should be very careful in what method you are using to analyze the case, in what way you have understood the case, so how the improvement change should happen in that case. So everything depends. What is the success rate? Success rate of what?
Success rate of LM potency, she's asked.
See, LM potency is a complete potency. Success rate is 100%. Okay. The point is whether we are giving the right remedy to the case. So in this connection, I would say that my success rate is more than 70%. Yeah, LM potency is a very great. That's why I'm saying no. It will be like a magic. You cannot imagine that you we have a lot of experience in giving mother tinctures for pathological cases, cancers, and everything. But the one poppy seed size of LM1 that is dissolved in 100 ml of water and taking some 1 spoon from another 100 ml of solution of the same will bring an miraculous cure. So that shows the efficacy of the LM potency.
If I give SD of remedy and then continue with LM of the same remedy, is it okay?
I don't understand what is SD of the remedy.
Yeah, even I cannot. Can you write it down? What is SD? Single dose. If I give single dose of a remedy and then continue with LM of the same remedy, is it okay?
Yeah, some masters like Luke D. Shepard and Robin Murphy advise this kinds of prescription whether you are not sure of the remedy will act or if you are not sure of the remedy, you can give one dry dose of a centesimal potency, preferably 30C potency. After assessing the response of that particular patient, you can move with LM1. You can take it forward with LM1. Any single dose, it is possible. Yeah, you can give. And you can use water dosing also for the centesimal as a test dose, that is testing the sensitivity of the patient. So in spite of giving 30 as a dry dose, you can give one static dose. Static dose in the sense means just one pill. You put it in 100 ml of water in a cup, stir it well and ask the patient to take 3 spoons or the whole cup as needed. So this is one static dose at your clinic and you can see the response, and after that you can start with LM1 of the same remedy.
Shia asked how to give it to patient, how to dispense from LM pills of market. I think sir has already explained it.
Yeah.
You can go through it again. How to prepare LM in 15 ml and how to take it.
Same in the way of taking it in 100 ml. You put one pill and you fill the 15 ml container with 15 ml of water and some 10 to 15 drops of alcohol. Put one pill in it. Ask the patient to make 10 strokes. You ask them to take in drops or cap in another cup of water. Stir it well. Drink it. So that's it. So this is the usual way how I prescribe medicines to the patient. All my prescription bottles will be carrying a label like this. So you will see how much strokes, how much cap, either to take it weekly or daily. Everything will be printed in the medicine bottle.
So we can directly dissolve the LM potency in say 10 ml or 15 ml of bottle and directly take the drop, or we really need to dilute it further.
So the concept is to make the dose more diluted and more minimized so that the effect will be more. In case if you have
If suppose
other,
someone is traveling, sir,
yeah, you
and
can
if
take
they
it. You can take it.
okay,
Yes.
I
Prescribing
think
LM will make a physician to be 24 into 7. So patients will keep on calling you and asking you things. You have to instruct them. So it will be difficult at initial time of practice. And when you start training your patients according to your dosage and everything, and it will become very easier. And this managing the follow-up will become what to say, become very interesting. As you see, patient will inform you the changes after taking every spoon.
all right, sir. I think most of the questions have been answered.
Great.
It was a great session. And if you all really want a course by Sir on LM Potency separately, do write to us. The maximum demand on maximum demand, we can curate one special course with Dr. Charu Vahan sir, especially for LM Potency. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, sir, for an elaborative session on LM Potency.
Yeah, thank you everyone to listen very patiently. I'm very glad to answer all your questions. You all were very wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Goodbye. Have a great day.
Yeah.